Within Herb Kohler's focus on living on the leading edge, he has enjoyed a lifelong love affair with horses, particularly Morgan horses. It's yet another industry where the corporate giant has created a legacy for others to admire and try to follow. But then, what else would you expect from a man with a world-renowned godfather who discovered and claimed a mountain for him in Antarctica? You've had a great history with Morgan horses. You had show horses and did driving and riding. But you've taken a little bit of a turn into a different discipline.
Driving a four-in-hand.
And what's a four-in-hand for people who aren't familiar?
4 horses in front of you.
And what are you driving behind them?
Carriage of various dimensions. It can be a 2-wheel buggy. It can be a coach. It can be a coach 50% larger than a stagecoach.
What made you want to do this?
Well, when you get old.
Okay. Here we go. You are a lot of things. That's not what I'd call you, but okay, go ahead.
And you don't have the athleticism you used to have. Developing a skill at driving, I mean, it's really a remarkable skill.
Last year, I believe, was the first year you did it competitively?
Yeah. I'm not driving in the Grand National this year. Hope to next year.
What's been your competitive experience to date?
I've driven in some local shows.
And how does it go? Do you like it? Is it working?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure it's gorgeous.
I didn't get a blue ribbon every time.
Well, is that acceptable for you?
Well, what did I do wrong? But the trouble is that there's not enough fours out there. So you're competing against pairs. You can stay with the pairs in reinsmanship or a working class, but it's hard, very, very hard to stay with a pair when you're going through cones because they can be much quicker and much more maneuverable. Hopefully over time we can develop more interest and more wherewithal in fours and really get some competition going.
If I'm not mistaken, you've taken this outside the Morgan breed to try to help do that.
Yes, we have Morgans in Kohler. Mm-hmm. And we have horses bred by the Queen.
Of England?
Of England. And coupled with some horses we purchased in Ireland to go with them. And we use them now as fours in Pennsylvania. I go out there every 2 to 3 weeks and drive them.
It's a joy, isn't it? You love it.
It's an incredible joy.
You have Morgan horses that have been honored by being inducted into the Morgan Horse Hall of Fame. I can't imagine you had a favorite because there were so many fabulous horses, and you bred them, you bought them, you did it all. You did it every way that anyone could ever think about.
I've only bought 2 stallions in my life, and if you were to force me to have favorites, I would call those 2, Vigil March and Noble Flare.
Extraordinary. You use that word. They were extraordinary.
Yeah.
And the progeny have continued to make their mark on the breed.
Very much so.
And again, you're setting a standard, you're leaving a legacy. Is what you're doing with the carriages in any way your attempt to try to help diversify and make the breed more appealing on a broader scale? Do you see it that way at all?
Yes. We're trying to promote that aspect of it, which has been underdeveloped.
Seems to me that when you do these things, as you go along, your vision will expand because you'll see something and it will inspire you.
Probably.
Do you understand that that makes you extraordinary?
Why?
Because most people are so happy to get done with their job and just go home and hang out or, go to the movies. They're not looking for being the leading edge. And you haven't done it just in one genre. You have done it across a wide scope that's your life.
But that's a joy. That is just a joy.
Do you have any specific goals that you still want to get to?
Well, you just like to finish some projects, but I happen to be the kind of person that's developing new projects. So right now I'm trying to get to Antarctica.
There's a mountain there named after you and your sister?
Yes.
How did that happen?
Admiral Byrd.
Admiral Byrd?
Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
And how did you know him?
He was my godfather.
And so for your birthday one year, he just named a mountain in Antarctica after you?
My father gave him a couple of generator sets because he wanted to live for a year in isolation. In return, on one of his trips, he named this mountain after the two of us.
Is that why you want to go? To
Yes.
see the mountain?
Yes.
You've never been?
I've tried twice before and not made it. I was invited by the Admiral to manage his dogs on the last trip for dogs.
Did they ban them? They weren't
Yes,
allowed?
the scientists had banned them because they were concerned that dogs would contaminate the environment. My father said, no, you have to finish your education. Oh, it was terrible. Terrible.
You didn't rebel against that one?
Oh, so close. I was 17 at the time. But then the second time, I was a co-sponsor of a trip for this old guy who was also with Admiral Byrd. It's for him to climb a mountain that the Admiral named after him, and then I'd come around and climb my mountain. And this particular trip was a little underfinanced. And it required 3 flights there in a old DC-6. We landed on a blue ice glacier. The first trip was filled with National Geographic people and dogs and other expedition leaders. I was supposed to be on the second flight, and then there was a third flight. On the first flight, the plane actually got to the Blue Ice Glacier runway, started coming down through an overcast, and as it came down, it started to ice up, and their de-icing fluid was not good. So the windshield, entire windshield, except for the side vents, obscured, and the plane crashed. Dogs were killed. 2 of the people were killed. And I never got onto the second flight. So, this is my 3rd attempt.
3rd time's the charm, maybe?
I don't know.
Do you have a date?
January.
Okay, so we want an update on this one. Pictures.
If I get there. I may not get there.
Are you happy?
Very.
What makes Herbert Kohler happy?
Working.
Your father never had to worry. If he'd only known, right?